Good morning, YouTube. How you doing? It is bright and early, 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. I believe it's the 13th. Yeah, we're doing this. We're getting down to business early because this guy is nowhere near close enough to be finished for the Holden Showdown, which is in well, depending on how you do it, 4 Saturdays. So, you know, today, next Saturday, the following Saturday, and then that Saturday coming after that, that fourth one is the last Saturday I have a chance to work on that. I got a ton of work travel. I've got a ton of family obligations. I got a wedding today. I got my wife's working tomorrow afternoon. So work time is in short supply. So I'm getting a little. So we're gonna just start knocking through things now because it's crunch time. Because you think 4 weekends is a lot, but it really isn't. So. Let's get down, let's run down the list, let's figure out what we still need to do, and then let's attack it and start knocking it out, all right? Stay tuned. All right, guys, like I said, it's bright and early. We have quite a bit to knock out on here, so liquid fuel here. Got the list kind of run down in my mind of what we need to knock out, and off the top of my head, I'm leaning on one of them, so let me get my... beverage there where I can spill it and, you know, possibly ruin some stuff. So we still have everything with the catch can. Okay, that honestly is fairly self-contained because I know pretty much where I think I'm going to mount it. I was looking at this bracket. I may end up cutting it just to make it work a little better, but I have a good idea of roughly where I'm going to put it in the engine compartment. I think it'll fit very nicely where I want to do it. I just have to see, and I can do that pretty quickly. How well this, now see they have it nice and high on the neck, and I'll get it in here so you can see it, but they have a nice area where you can mount the bracket, and I'm just looking in one of the areas in the engine compartment, looks pretty good for what I want to do there. So, you know, this will probably be one of the last things I tackle just because everything's in the engine compartment, but for now, we're going to get this baby back in the bag so it doesn't get too trashed. Like I said, fairly straightforward. That's one thing we need to do. So my GTO here, actually my dad's GTO will be a table. Here's another fairly quick one that we can do. This is the air intake. I actually bought this from somebody for the Cutlass when the LSA was on the Cutlass for an air intake. It worked beautifully. It was actually from a G8 LSA Swap, so perfect for this car. But you know, if I just wanted to use this, I could take out the rotofab and just kind of let this sit in the engine compartment. It has 2 spots here that I could use for, one for the PCV or something like that, and the other one I can use for meth injection port. For now, I'm gonna just have the PCV port open, and I'll have like the meth port plugged as well for now, just because I can't afford it. It's just too many things, too many irons in the fire right now. But for this guy, what I'm going to do is, and you can see it here, I'm going to cut it right at this weld because it has the sensor right there. And just judging by how, like the length of this and where everything kind of lines up, I should be able to put this in here and bring it down far enough. And I don't know how well you can see it, but I should be able to angle this down and get a small either offset or small angled coupler and couple it to the rotofab box. So fingers crossed there, it'll probably turn into a train wreck. So let me just put this guy over here. And don't freak out that I'm using the GTO as a table. This thing's getting a full restoration. So, okay, let's see. Not much in here per se. I do have some like harnesses and stuff like that for pumps, but I'm not actually gonna be using that pump anymore. This is the O2 sensor. That really, you know, pertains to when I'm going to be when everything's basically done. Let me get that bag out of the way. Let's go down the list. Okay, this box actually, believe it or not, I've gotten everything out of it that I needed to get out of it. So that's awesome. I've got, okay, so another big one, which isn't really all that difficult to do, is I have to take the front bumper off again to get the intercooler on. And that's underneath the car right now. I'm sorry, underneath this table right here, waiting to go on the car. So that one's fairly involved, easy but involved. So I probably am gonna start that because I kind of need that there for everything else that has to happen. And plus, I really just want to get the coolant system done because it's larger lines and everything. But before I get to that, so I also have the DSX fuel system there for here, and I mean this is nice. This is just a nice setup. Dave Steck, who is DSX Tuning, he did a really nice job on this. It's the really good hose that you don't have to worry about vapor leaking through it. That's very important, especially when you're dealing with stuff like this. When you're dealing with fuels that, such as alcohol, that can very easily get through hoses. Now I'm using it as an auxiliary pump to basically just come on at a set fuel pressure. So I mean, it's really not that big a deal for me. And I can see, you can see this is the line that'll come off the tank. This will, go into that fitting. That'll come down. This will hook into the filter side of the pump. And then off that pump, the end will be this hose that goes off the front of the pump, run up into the engine compartment, and go into this fitting. And it comes with the bracket and everything. It is a really straightforward, and what's really cool too, and this is pretty awesome what they do, is Dave supplies you with if you choose as an option, the drill bit and the thread, the threading tool, to create the threads in the tank. And it looks like they also give you basically a way to mark how far in you should really go on that, which is pretty awesome as well. I like to go a little smaller and then kind of very slowly walk up on it. So this should actually go pretty well. The absolutely hardest part of all of this is this guy right here. This is the only thing you really have to worry about in this entire kit, because it's the only thing that could possibly really leak. But it gives you the blue stuff. This is thread sealant. It's supposed to say soft, kind of pliable, let you kind of get everything set. What they recommend, and what I would also recommend, is that get your fuel level low. What I'm going to do is actually jack the car. I got to determine which side it's supposed to be on. I'm pretty sure just based on like this hose, it's going to have to go on the driver's side, which is kind of, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the coolant system, because the coolant system, a lot of guys run it up the driver's side as well. But for me, I'm actually considering maybe running it up the coolant system up the passenger side. I got to go look and see which side the fittings are on for the intercooler, because that'll make a lot of sense as to which side I go. And the pain in the butt of that is if I run this on the driver's side and the coolant setup that has large hoses, I'm really starting to jam a lot of crap on that side. Plus, I want to put the O2 sensor on that side, so it's just like, the car's going to flip over now. But it becomes a little bit more of a packaging nightmare. But this is pretty straightforward. And I'm sorry, I didn't finish my thought on that. But if you put this fitting in, I would recommend, what I'm going to do is actually siphon the tank, if I can do that, to try to get it down as low as possible. And then I'm going to lift the car up on the driver's side only to kind of tip the fuel away from where I'm going to be drilling. And then I'm going to pop the hole in. We're going to put the fitting in, and I'm going to hang this hose off the this hose off the fitting. So I'll put the pump in, get the pump and everything already, and then I'm just going to let it set overnight. So basically, the hard part is going to be putting this fitting in, letting this stuff really set up, and there's a couple other plates, there's a couple other ones that sell, like Permatex sells a really heavy duty thread sealant too. Now the thing is though, is that he's using your standard MPT fittings, which you really shouldn't even have to use thread sealant on it because of the way that the thread pitch is. You're gonna get some of my mechanical engineering here. But it's purposely made with the tapered threads and the way that the thread is created, that you should not even need to use the sealant on it. But it's a nice, a lot of guys will just, for the hell of it, put Teflon tape or something on it. Don't do that with gas. That's a really not great idea. Use the sealant he has. It's rated for alcohol fuels, and fuels and alcohol in general. And alcohol is really abusive to hoses and stuff. So he has really heavy duty stuff. So you see it on here, DSX tuning at the bottom or wherever the hell I put it in this thing. But I really recommend this. If you're like me, you're a bit of a baby and you don't want to pull the interior out, cut a hole in your floor to get to the fuel system, or if you want to be like gung-ho, then you have to drop the whole rear cradle. Someday I may do that and get a new gas tank and put in the CTSV fuel setup with all that stuff. But for now, these guys in the CTSV community have run this thing for many years with a lot of luck, Dave is very well known in the community, so you know, and in agreement with Shane Hines that this is the fastest way to get to my goal of a 10-second time slip without having to rip the entire car apart to do it. So yes, I'm drilling a hole in the fuel tank, but I can still get a fuel tank, which I'll probably do sooner rather than later because we all know that these cars aren't made anymore. Okay, so 1 second, I'm gonna walk over here and choke to death and find the big one. This is not the big one. Shit. All right, well, oh Christ. I'm an idiot. It was in the picture the entire time. Hold on. Here it is. Okay. Let me get this. Just put this out of the way for a second because I won't need that. All right. So this is, you know, a very unassuming but very important box. Now I'm going to take a sip of my, you know, Pain Go Bye Bye juice this morning. Hold on. And then we're going to come back over here because I don't feel like spilling it. And I'm also going to get this hammer out of the way because this was for another thing where if it doesn't fit, get a bigger hammer. So here's what I got. This doesn't look like much, but it is an extremely important box. And I just got to find where the heck it comes out. But let me see. Okay, well, it's, you can see, I'm not gonna screw around with this just because for this, there you go. Usually you wait long enough, the solution presents itself. So this is really, really good 3/4 inch hose. And there is a lot of it in this box. I think there's at least 50 feet of it in this box, which should be more than enough for what I need to do. And I think we all know what this is for. This will run to the intercooler. This will run to the blower hat. This will run all the way to the back to the ice tank. And pretty much in my ramblings of this morning, I have made up my mind that the ice tank and the intercooler will be what we work on this weekend. I'll have some time today, I'll have some time tomorrow. I gotta do a little bit of work for something, but you know, something for my normal job. But this guy will get cut up to run the lines around, but I'll do that after I kind of get everything mounted. And then I want to bring this monster over. Because this, I think what I'm going to do is, if nothing else, just kind of get it so that it's out of the way, but it's nice and self-contained. And we saw this a few episodes ago, so check that out. But okay, so I'm just going to give you the ancillary box of everything. Like he gives you conversion, he gives you harnesses to wire it up. And the beautiful part is in the trunk, there is a fuse system in there. So what I gotta do is just figure out where the hell I gotta tap. So I may be on the interwebs, but this is a conversion. And what this will do is go from the tank, from the ice tank, EMP reprogrammed pump, down to my 3/4 inch lines, because that is what I'll be running. And it's also, you know, just for reference, is that, look at that, yeah, see, they label it for you. The reason why they do this is because the pump itself was made for 1 inch lines, and you start to have issues with too much head pressure on the pump, and it pisses the pump off. You can start getting issues with, you know, severely degraded flow rate and performance, life of the pump. So you definitely want to at least run about like 6 inches off the end of this, but they give you some instructions on that. And then they give you your bag of goodies, which initially seems fairly daunting, but please slide off and fall on the floor if at all possible. There we go. But I will go through this in more detail when we finally get to it. But here's a filter here, so you can kind of see what's going on. There is, oh, look at that. God damn, these guys are good. I was a little concerned about where the hell I was gonna find these things, and they give them to you. They give you O-rings. All right, shit. I said I was gonna do it later. We're gonna do it now. We're doing it live. I'm gonna write it myself. We're gonna do it live. All right, hold on. If anyone gets that reference, if you don't, then look up, I forget who the hell, Fox News or one of those. I don't give a shit. I don't watch it anyway. But they give you the drain. Give you a drain for it. They give you the O-rings to go through wherever you're going through. Ah, man, I'll tell you, man. P&R Welding, Paul, you the man, dude. Very nice. They give you all of the brackets, should you choose to order it, and they give you self-tapping screws to hold it up. Oh, this makes me happy. This makes me feel like I might actually be able to get some of this done. And then this is, holy moly, is this a fuse? What is this? This is some sort of fuse. Okay, this is actually for the pump. Holy crap. Wow, I didn't realize what this was initially. This is actually, I thought it might have been a fuse. It is a monster fuse for your EMP pump. Because by the way, that thing's a beast. So this is all the goodies. It really isn't a lot. And then I got the, the real deal inside the bag, inside the box here. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna move this, or I'm gonna have to clean up my, work table area, because I got a lot of stuff here that from the original motor. So I really do want to label a lot of that stuff. But once I kill the camera here, and then this is the pretty thing, the thing that's gonna be doing the work. God damn, way lighter than I thought. I almost threw the thing. But, we showed this a few episodes ago, but, very, very, very well done. It's from the CTSV community, PNR Welding. Gives you all the hardware, gives you everything. Here you go. This will go inside the trunk, and what I will do is it'll be facing basically this way as you see the vehicle. And, yeah, man, it is pretty. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably take the camera down, stick it in there so you guys can see what he does with this. But yeah, top-notch work, man. Really, really nice. Very nice product. We'll get this bad boy mounted in the trunk. And, yeah, you know what? Enough shooting the shit. Let's get down to business, guys. Okay, guys, how you doing? We're back here. I had messed with a few different things while, between the last clip and here, and I'm actually going to come towards the screen here and move this stuff. Sorry for the noise. I'm going to have to get a little creative with this. So what I ended up doing was cutting the, you can see it here, I cut the filter end off of this, so it still has the boss for the LS7 mass airflow sensor. And when you get in here, it's still very, very long, so it's very difficult to get it to line up. But it's like it's almost there. So it looks like, I need about half the distance there. If I could potentially get this to fit inside the rotofab box slightly. So like basically this would be right up against the edge of the rotofab box. So I'm not sure it'll work. But I think I might be able to actually make it fit. So I'm not, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do on that yet, just because I'm not necessarily like happy with how it looks. But so I know I need some more work done there, but in the meantime, loosened up all the bolts for the front bumper. You remember that when I did the spoiler install. So we're going to kind of start moving her forward here. All right, guys, so now you can see front bumper's off. I got nice access in here, and what I'm going to end up doing is probably cleaning a few things off because I got a bit of work to do in here prior to that. I got a few things, like just a little bit of trimming to do, but let's drag this guy in here. So if you remember this from a while ago, here's our intercooler, and it's very, very nicely done, and I got to move some stuff out of the way because I can't really do a good job of installing this, just without actually taking some of these pieces off and getting it out of the way. But I'm like looking right at the hardware I would have to install on it. So it's really going to be straightforward, but this guy will install right in here very cleanly, and there's a spot over here where I'd have to mount, but I'll walk you through it. Right now it's just I got to remove some stuff, and you got to be careful because you don't want to screw this up or else it makes it hard for you to get your hood back on. But ends up and I'll put it in the description where I got the intercooler from. But he gives you a nice vent port in here, and as far as I can tell, nice. Okay, so basically it's all on the passenger side, so that answers that. So I don't know if you can see it, but that answers my question from before. So what's nice is I will be able to put this in the car, and I'm just going to run everything on the passenger side. I'll run it down the passenger side to the back. So that answers the question of whether or not, I'm going to just get this out of the way so I don't damage it, whether or not I can get away with using the passenger side to route the ice box. So good, done. Question answered, we're good to go. I'll pop it out the side, run that side, I'll run the fuel on the driver's side. So it'll at least balance it out pretty well. But I'm going to get in here, I'm gonna get down to business, start pulling this stuff off the front. I'll give you a little bit better angle when we do it, and I'll grab a chair, kind of get in there so you can see. But we're moving forward, guys. We're taking a little bit of a step back here with the intake, and but we're gonna take many steps forward here, getting the intercooler in. So stay tuned. I'll catch you in a few. Okay, guys, how you doing? Got a little bit of a weird angle here, but I wanted to be able to get most of the front here, so you can see now that you notice the front bumper is off. Duh. We got that all off, and I was just looking around here, seeing what's doing. But behind me, and we'll reach around and grab this, we have the intercooler, and you can see here fittings. I gotta check and confirm which size fittings. These don't look like 3/4. These look like 5/8 perhaps. So I gotta check on that just to confirm to make sure. But what I'm gonna do is have these guys go in, and then I'm going to come out to obviously a 3/4 inch, or a 12 AN fitting. Now, I just want to give you a quick, I pulled off, actually, too, there was the cover that was on the front of that. I pulled that off, and I wanted to just show you guys this piece kind of installed, so you can get a feel for what we're dealing with here. But it's very straightforward, and you can see roughly where everything is supposed to mount. So it's actually, you almost don't even, it's very self-explanatory here. And I'm going to slide this in. There's a bolt already in the way there, so I don't want to, go nuts with it. But yeah, you'll have to push down on that. And that lines up very nicely. And then there's a bracket right here that we'll have to be careful of. But what I'm going to end up doing is just trimming a little bit of this for around the fitting. I have a couple pieces of, I got a hole saw actually that I'm going to use that should be able to notch that real nicely. And then over here, I don't know if I'm going to need to or not, but like if you push this down off on the pads, it fits very nicely. So I'm just going to follow the directions that were given to me to install this, and it should be pretty straightforward to do this. And then she's mounted. It's got a bracket here too that you have to take care of, but I got to make sure I know what the fittings are for this, because I'm going to run all the hoses, on the passenger side of the car, and then I have a hose to run up here. But I want to get this mounted and get this kind of like in prior to worried about running some of the other lines. So I think that's just about it. You can see that this seems to, like in every other image, moves back and forth. I'm still on the fence about which way do I want to keep this. I like it this way only because it keeps all the lines out of the way, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to install like a vacuum line for this. But either way, not a big deal. Works fine either way. I may just end up using the hose attachment, but I have to figure out how I'm going to get a MAF in there. So Still undecided at this point, but for now, let's get down to business. We've got a few things that we need to do on this guy, so let's get started. Okay, guys, here it is. This is the heat exchanger pretty much fully installed, minus the fittings, but you can see it's a Delrin bushing with a insert, basically a bushing to locate it. You have to press down a little bit because there's cushions on here, but it does the same thing here. It's actually located under here. Located under this fascia here for the other side. And then up here at the top, it's a very simple bracket. It goes underneath one of the hood latch brackets, and it has a little standoff here that's cushioned, holds it in place. It's very sturdy. You got your 1/4 inch vent right there, and then here, I'm not 100% sure what this is. Initially I thought maybe it might be 3/4, but it looks a little small, so it might be 5/8 MPT. But it's there, and then up here, and what I'll probably do is go with a barb fitting here so I can slide the hose on. But I'm not 100% sure, and then I can like tuck it down through there, and then this one will come up off of the fitting here and go up through next to the light over there, and then they'll run to where they need to go. But so for right now, I got a few parts to get, and I gotta go. I'm gonna turn this around here. Sorry, got blocking you there, but I'm gonna have to pause it for right now because I got some work to do inside the house. But this kind of gets the ball rolling on this. I'll start working the tank at another point, maybe later tonight. We'll see. But for now, this is today's episode. We'll see. Next episode, we'll just keep chugging along, guys. So thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks to all the guys who've been following thus far. And we'll see you next time. Take care.